Hi, I'm Big Anklevich. I'm a podcaster and an author, and I'm also a toy enthusiast. We're talking the Walgreens exclusive Fantastic Four today. This is Big Anklevich on Toys. I've never been much of a fan of the Fantastic Four. I only know them because of Johnny Storm's role on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Iceman and Firestar.
Wait. No, he was replaced by a made-up character that Spider-Man was always trying to ask out on a date.
If you'll just tell us who you're dating tonight, we can start taking care of Magneto.
I guess I've just always known of the Fantastic Four, but never actually saw anything including them when I was growing up. They did have a cartoon.
The new Fantastic Four.
One that didn't include Johnny Storm either.
Now together with Herbie the Robot, the newest member of the group.
And it's possible that I saw a few episodes when I was growing up, but I never read one of their comic books, and there were no movies back then. I guess the Fantastic Four is just one of those things that are part of the culture. You know about them, even if you don't know them. They eventually made it to the movies, and I did see both of the Chris Evans, Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis, and the other guy versions. They weren't all that fantastic. I did not see Fant Four Stick at all. Didn't hear good things leading up to it, and it only got worse once people started seeing it. I've been collecting Marvel Legends since 2004, and in that time they've released several versions of Fantastic Four figures, but they never motivated me to buy them. Then, this most recent version of The Thing came out, and I started seeing folks talk about it online.
Is this the best thing ever?
The best thing ever.
I think this is the best Marvel Legends Thing figure that is out there.
All of a sudden, that familiar monster in my head started growling. No, not the Thing.
It's clobbering time.
I mean that monster that compels me to want to buy more toys. This new figure of the Thing looked really cool. Really cool. But I never go to Walgreens, so it didn't really matter. It'd be out of stock before I ever saw it. Besides, you can't just buy the Thing. He's part of the Fantastic Four. It's a set. And I didn't have any of the others who had been released over the last 2 years. Unfortunately, for my wallet, it just so happened that I had to go to Walgreens to get a prescription for my daughter because of a coupon for a medication that was only good at Walgreens and not my usual pharmacy. While I was there, I saw that they had The Thing. I picked it up and looked at it for a minute. And then I lost all impulse control. I wanted it. I was going to buy it. What really tipped me over the top was that also on the shelf at Walgreens was Mr. Fantastic. That would put me halfway there already. I grabbed them both and went to the register. That day, I called my podcast co-host and fellow toy enthusiast Rish Outfield and begged him to talk me off the ledge. I still had the receipt. I could take them back. I had 30 days. Rish had to admit that the Thing figure was pretty awesome, but he reminded me that the Fantastic Four meant very little to me. They were just part of the culture. I knew about them, but I didn't know them. Sometimes the figures at Walgreens go on sale right after Halloween, so I could probably get it cheaper there if I just waited a little. And getting things cheap has always been the cornerstone of my collection. Then he reminded me about all the toys that I had been mentioning recently that I wanted more. I could use the money on them instead. That last bit especially resonated. It seemed as though he'd talked me off the ledge. But there had been an issue with my daughter's prescription. The stupid coupon didn't work because it had to be activated online first before I could use it. So I had to come back to Walgreens the next day, or I could pay full price, which was $700. So I went home and activated the coupon. When I went back, I went to the other Walgreens that was really close to me as well, and lo and behold, this one had the Johnny Storm figure there. Any talking off the ledge was gone. I was jumping instead. I grabbed that Human Torch and began searching for the final four. There are 5 Walgreens within a short driving distance of my house. I'd already been to 2 of them. Over the next day or two, I visited each of the other 3. I found a lot of yellow daredevils and a bunch of other figures that have pretty much run their course. But wherever I looked, I just couldn't see the Invisible Girl. So I expanded my Google Maps out a little further. Less than a half hour away in various directions, there were more Walgreens locations. It took a lot more time, but I went to each of these stores as well, one by one. I found all sorts of figures at these stores, like yellow daredevils, lots more things, and even a Moon Knight that I decided to buy for my oldest son as a Christmas present. He's Moon Knight's biggest and only fan. I think he's going to dig it. I just hope he doesn't watch this video before Christmas rolls around. I should have put up a spoiler alert for him. As I went into the last Walgreens and found it bereft of invisible girls, my spirits sank. All of those yellow daredevils sitting around all this time. Couldn't just one of those stores have overstocked Invisible Girl instead and had one left over all this time later? I was pretty much out of luck. I could expand my range even farther and check more Walgreens, but it was getting ridiculous. I was spending twice the money on gas that I would spend just buying the figure on eBay at this point. It was time to admit defeat and call off the hunt and buy it online. There wasn't any hurry anymore. The figure was going to be available on eBay for quite a while. It wasn't like it was going to disappear from the virtual shelves. The fire had gone from my belly. I let time pass and I didn't go looking for toys at any store. I'd probably spent too much of the money meant for my kids' Christmas presents on me at this point anyway. I could hold off for a while. However, one day, a week or two later, when I drove to work, the usual traffic didn't delay me. It was nowhere to be found. I was almost to work when I realized that I was 20 minutes early. I had plenty of time to stop in somewhere before reporting to my job. I grabbed my phone and told Siri to find me the nearest Walgreens. One ramp before the street where I usually exited the freeway, there was a Walgreens store. I followed the directions there and went inside, assuming that I'd find nothing but yellow daredevils. I walked down the aisle, and then a grin spread across my face. I win, I said. There on the shelf was an Invisible Woman figure. I grabbed it, took it back home, victorious in my hunt. So, here they are. The Fantastic Four. For something I've never loved before, I sure love these guys. Usually nostalgia is the number one driving factor in my desire for collecting action figures, but these guys are just really cool. And it's pretty neat to open the whole team all at once. The Thing is as awesome as everyone has said. He weighs a ton. It's funny to pick up his box after holding the box for Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, and the Human Torch. There's just no comparison. This is the kind of figure that could have easily been a Build-A-Figure. The sculpt is great, with rock wrinkles even sculpted into the plastic of the joints. The rock is also treated with an all-over wash that highlights each of those cracks and jagged edges. There's even sculpting and paint on the bottom of his feet. He comes with an extra straight-faced head and a set of open hands as well as a set of fists, so it could be clobbering time, or not. That decision is up to you. Mr. Fantastic does not weigh a ton. In fact, after holding the Thing, I would have guessed that he was using the teenage buck instead of the adult one. Only when I stood him up next to other figures was I convinced that he was normal-sized. He doesn't need to be big, after all. Mr. Fantastic is smart, not strong. His power set does not rely on strength at all, and bro, I bet he doesn't even lift. Except for books. He comes with 2 long, stretched-out arms to demonstrate that power set. His regular, non-stretchy arms detach at the shoulders easily, which was actually something I was a little worried about. I was happy not to have to spend several minutes soaking him under hot water to be able to turn him fantastic. I love the stretch arms, too. You don't have to use both, but it can be useful to help him balance. The Invisible Woman is on the small side, too, but not out of scale small. It's just what's right for her character. She's a pretty standard figure, wearing her Fantastic Four blues, but one arm is turning clear, and though her other arm is opaque, she comes with a second hand that is going invisible as well. Those clear hands are in the creating a force field pose, but she doesn't come with any sort of force field effects or anything. Instead, she comes with Herbie packed in alongside her. That cartoon I mentioned that Johnny Storm didn't appear in is where Herbie was invented.
Robbery! Jewelry store! Located Location, Central City.
The Human Torch's rights were tied up, so they needed a new fourth to keep them fantastic. We couldn't have them outnumbered by the Frightful Four, could we?
From this day on, the world will know us as the Frightful Four.
It was only a year since R2-D2 and C-3PO had made their debut in theaters. Robot sidekicks were all the rage. Buck Rogers had Tweaky, the Black Hole had Vincent, The Day the Earth Stood Still had Gort. Everybody needed a cute, harmless robot sidekick. It was the obvious choice. Herbie even comes with a stand so that you can make him look like those jets he has instead of legs function. I was going to talk about Johnny Storm's figure as well, but my figure's rights are tied up in a licensing dispute between Hasbro, Toy Biz, Sony, Disney, and 20th Century Fox. So I have this actual torch that came with my Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King. I call it the non-human torch. Hey, dad jokes, everybody. I got a million of them. Here he is, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. He's very fun and translucent. He comes with a set of plain old red, not-so-flamey hands, and flames on his back that can be removed if you don't like your torch to be so very flame-on. Or, if you prefer your torch extra flaming hot, he comes with 2 fireballs that can be placed over his hands like he's winding up to throw them. They look good on their own, and they look even better together. Here's the whole Fantastic Four, or 5. Herbie was an official member after all, right?
Cannot compute! Cannot compute!
Anyway, I'm pleased with the results of my chase, and especially the fact that I was successful in that chase. If you like the Fantastic Four, 5 at all, then I recommend you grab these figures. If you've been collecting them all along, then of course you're grabbing the thing too, but if you've considered it and have been afraid that you wouldn't be able to amass the whole group, I'm here to tell you that it's possible. It could happen. Give it a shot. At worst, you could save your receipts and return them if it doesn't work out. Or you could go to eBay to fill in the gaps that you couldn't manage to fill. Happy hunting. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please, it would be great. If you liked the video, awesome. If you also subscribed, and simply fantastic if you click the bell to get notifications about new videos as I put them out. Do you have the Fantastic Four in your collection? Is the Walgreens exclusive your favorite set, or do you prefer a different version? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. Let's talk some toys. Also, if you like science fiction, fantasy, and horror tales, check out my podcast. It's called the Dunesteef Audio Fiction Magazine. And for the last 10 years, my co-host Rish Outfield and I have been presenting audio fiction stories that will surely engage and entertain you when you're driving to work, working in the yard, folding laundry, or any other time that your mind is free, but your eyes are not. Check the links in the description. Thanks, and see you next time at Big Anklevich on Toys.